Chapter 12 of the Shortstop. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Reading by Rowdy Delaney, Idaho, USA. Chapter 12 Popularity. Small boys ushered in the 4th of July with a bang. The noise began at daybreak, and at 9 o'clock, when the ball team left for Kenton, it was in full blast. A trainload of happy enthusiasts accompanied the team. Small boys without tickets hid under the seats, with determination in their hearts and hearts in their throats, and the conductor, being a boy himself that morning, with a wager on Findlay, saw nothing. 500 strong we're going over," said Mac, rubbing his hands. "Sure, we'll draw down a big slice of gate money today." "Rotten arrangement this morning game at Kenton," growled his players. "Kenton is bad enough on any day, but the Fourth, oh Lord, what they'll do to us!" "We can't win," continued Cas, pessimistically. "We'll be dodging giant firecrackers. Mark what I say." When they bowled into the Kenton grounds and poured out of the bus, an enormous shirt sleeved crowd roared a welcome that was defiance. Then waiting showers of red firecrackers began to fly, and the scene became a smoke clouded battlefield. Small guns popped incessantly, and artillery worked strenuously. When this explosion subsided and the smoke rolled away, the Findlay team stood covered with little red and yellow pieces of paper and sniffing the brimstone in the air. "Get in and scrap today, boys," cried Enoch, and for once his voice was not soft. "There's nothing to it," said Cas, forgetting his prophecy. "A short, hard practice now," added Mac. "Start the dust. Dig 'em up and peg 'em. Keep lively and noisy." Kenton was very different from Wheeling, being one of those baseball towns where the patrons of the game could not see a point, or appreciate a play, or applaud a game unless it was won by their own team. This operated to the poor showing of their team, because when opposing teams visited Kenton they were driven to desperation by the criticism and taunts and atmosphere of an unsportsmanlike crowd, and they fought the games to the last ditch. Mac particularly warned his players not to question a single decision of the umpire. That official, Silk O'Connor, baseballically reported to be as smooth as silk, was to be in the points that day. Silk was the best umpire in the league, but he was not especially beloved in Kenton. He had officiated at too many games lost by 1 run, and Silk had an irritating habit of adding a caustic comment to some of his rulings, a kind of wit that did not inspire the players to silence. Further, which seemed unreasonable, he never allowed a player to talk back to him. "Look out for Silk today, boys," concluded Mac. "He's up agin it here, same as we are. Don't expect no close decisions. Don't even look at him. Just drive these Kenton pitchers into the woods. Make the game one sided." "Play ball," called Silk. Enoch had scarcely reached the batter's box when the Kenton pitcher delivered the ball. "Strike," called Silk. Then in a low voice, "Foggy eye." Another ball came speeding up. "Strike 2." "Up late last night?" Enoch's round face grew red, and the lump in his cheek swelled out. He slammed at the next ball and sent it safely past the third baseman. Thatcher hurried up and took his position on the left side of the plate. "Strike," called Silk. "Hair brushed fine, dude." Thatcher bunted the next ball and dashed for first. The pitcher fielded the ball and overthrew, letting Enoch go to third and Thatcher to second. "Don't wait," whispered Mac to Chase. "Bing the first good one." Chase did bing one, and that with a vengeance. He had the ability to line the ball. This particular hit seemed to be going straight into the hands of the center fielder, but just before reaching him it sailed up and shot over his head. "Oh!" yelled Cas on the coaching line. "Take your time, Enoch. Slow down, dude. It's easy. Oh my! I guess it wasn't a beaut. Come on, come on, come on. Slide, Chase, slide. That's the way to hit the ground." Havil batted a high fly to an outfielder. Chase leaned forward and watched the ball till it landed in the fielder's hands, then darted for the plate. The fielder threw quickly, making a fine race between ball and runner, but Chase had never been thrown out on such a play. He slid over the plate just as the ball sped into the catcher's hands. The game progressed. Kenton came in for their inning and failed to score. Castorious was in rare form. On a hot day his arm was like India rubber. Findlay added 1 run in the second and again blanked their opponents. In the third Chase got his second hit, and 3 hits following his, coupled with a base on balls and 2 errors, netted 3 more runs. Again Cas foiled the Kenton batters, and the impatient crowd stamped. In the fifth 2 Kenton players hit safely with 1 out. The crowd began to howl. Hicks snapped the ball to Benny, who tagged the runner trying to get back to second. "Out!" Silk called. The Kenton players ran in a body for the umpire. The grandstand raged. The bleachers rose as one man. "He's safe! He's safe! Robber! Robber! Kill him! Kill him!" Silk ordered the players back to the bench. Cas struck out the next 2 batters, and elicited another storm from the bleachers. Someone threw a huge firecracker at Cas. Boom! It exploded like a bursting cannon. Cas shook his fist at the bleachers, and that brought forth a rain of smaller firecrackers. Enoch went up and had a strike called on him. He looked at Silk and made a motion with his hand to indicate the ball had passed wide of the plate. "Strike 2!" called Silk imperturbably. Enoch glared at him. "Strike 3!" called Silk more imperturbably. "You're out." Enoch leaned gracefully on his bat, spat tobacco juice about 6 yards, and said in his soft voice, "Do you know a ball when you see it?" "That costs you 5," sang out Silk. "Make it 10, you mullet. Why, Enoch, how sweet you talk. 10 it is." "Make it 15, pinhead. Dear me, the older you get the more you gab. 15 it is." "Make it 20, you web-footed bat." "20 it is, and out of the game. The bench for yours." Enoch roared something in inarticulate rage. "Get out of the grounds," ordered Silk, and he held his watch till Enoch shouldered his bat and left the field. Mac threw up his hands as if he knew the game was all over then. But even without their captain and third baseman, Findlay kept blanking Kenton. In the eighth Cas went to the bat. A silence ensued that seemed to presage some striking event. It came in the shape of a huge red firecracker that tumbled over and over in the air, and dropping behind Cas, exploded with a terrific report, tearing the seat out of his trousers. Cas jumped about 8 feet, and then, transformed into a veritable demon, brandishing his bat and roaring like a mad bull, he made for the bleachers. If Mac and several policemen had not intercepted him, the scene might have passed from comedy to tragedy. As it was, all Cas could do was wave his fist at the hooting bleachers and yell, "I can lick the man who threw that!" "Boo! Boo! Redhead! Redhead! I can lick you all!" bawled Cas, foaming at the mouth. In the prevailing excitement, the Findlay supporters naturally and foolishly poured out of the stands upon the field. Silk promptly called the game 9-0 in Kenton's favor. Then began one of those familiar scenes common to a baseball crowd on the glorious Fourth. Like water, the Kenton spectators spilled themselves into the melee. What with the angry altercations between partisans of the teams, and yells, and horn blowing, and shouting of the winners, and pushing, jostling, crowding of both sides, the affair bid well to degenerate into a real fight. But this did not happen. It almost never happens. Great rivalry, great provocation, never yet spoiled the fair spirit of the game. But the Findlay players ran a not soon to be forgotten gauntlet to the railroad station. Sore they were, particularly Cas, who was not able to sit down on the way home. And threatening were the supporters, but by the time the gong rang for the afternoon game in Findlay, resentment vanished in present enjoyment. For the attendance was very large, the afternoon perfect, and the game a spirited and thrilling one. Only a single misplay marred the brilliant fielding. Both pitchers kept the hitting down.